everything that we look at, there's a connection of anger, there's a connection of happiness, and all in between. And we're all here, perhaps because of anger that happened somewhere in the lives of each and every one of us. And we found a way to seek that happiness. So we are following that pathway. But when is it that you're the happiest? And if you continue your life, every day is happiness, can be, with the things that you reflect on those 4 times. So, you know, I'm here because I'm cured of that illness, of that disease. Not a disease, but a problem that I have. And yeah, you know, I could go out and go in a hole by getting a lavish dinner and celebrating. I could crack open a bottle of Thunderbird or whatever and drink myself and celebrate. I could go divulge in some ice cream or whatever. But what did I choose? I chose to be happy. And hopefully to share that and say, ask yourself that question. What is it that is happiness? What's happiness? It's a deep question. And I know we all, irregardless of where we come from, who we are, what we are, we deserve that. We don't have that here. There's a despair, but there is happiness. And the young people that are in despair. I have had four students, and I still have them. And we're talking about this Buffalo project. And some lady walks in, or she's in a wheelchair. That meeting was 2 days ago. And she's completely disabled. The only thing that she can move is one finger. And she came in and she said, I saw you guys. Do you mind if I sit in? She said, sit in. We start, continued our discussion. And she sees my little granddaughter playing, and she's been with me. She's only got 2 weeks left. She leaves me in 2 weeks and goes back to her home in Arizona, and there's going to be a sad grandpa here. But she's playing. And this lady has a caretaker, one that even feeds her. And she talks to her, and she goes out. And I didn't pay attention. All of a sudden, she brings in this little box, gives it to her. I look at it. It's a tablet. $200 tablet. I guess you guys know what those are. I don't know anything about it. But hey, you can get emails. You can do almost everything, I guess. Gave it to her. What's going on here? What's going on? I said, no, I'll give that to her. I've got more. And do you know of anyone that would appreciate it? I said, well, I got 4 students over there. I don't know if they have them or not, but yeah, I could give it to them. Brings in 4, and then she says she has 2 more of them to give. I don't know how many she brought. And if they're $200 a piece, and if she bought 20 of them, multiply that by 40. She's a millionaire woman. She came to give. She said, I don't have long to live. I don't want to take this stuff with me. And I come to Pine Ridge Reservation because there's a lot of need here. I want to do whatever I can. I'll buy diapers, I'll buy shoes, and give them. It makes me feel good to give. And so I brought 4 of them over yesterday with me. And they all come, they were dragging in. I said, and I told them this lady that did that. And I said, she asked me if I knew someone that would want these, and they're all getting kind of interested. I pulled it out, and this is one of the bags, but they had even better bags. She gave me this one. I never use a bag, but I found out it's really neat. I've got all kinds of stuff in there. But give it to them. And one of the girls almost cried. She said, I wanted one of these so badly. I got one. And it made me choke up because that happiness was there. And 4 of them got it. All 4 of these. One is a graduate that's going to Northern, going to college. The other 3 are leaving their homes and are going into boarding schools. And I don't know for certain, but they want to get away from the home because there might be dysfunction in their homes, and they want to learn. They want to receive an education. And I've taught them what I can in gardening in a traditional way. And they can't go in there with hard feelings, jealousy or anything. They have to go in with good feelings. They have to respect these seeds that are being planted, because that's life itself, life-giving life. And that's who we are, life-giving life.
Leonard?
So here comes the principles.
Oh. I also so much want you to take us out and show us the garden with the seeds, and if we can.
Could we finish with this
Oh,
principle?
please.
Okay.
I'm with you. I'm on your program.
Okay. So, in the way that we were taught by people that were essentially 1st or 2nd generation from being placed on a reservation. So behind it is a multitude of years of parenting. And in that parenting, there was the language first. So the language articulated all these things. And what I'm sharing with you is the language in English. We have the words for it in Lakota. So the principles that I shared were those 4 principles. And they're important to anyone, I think. But whether or not they agree with it, that's their business. We can only say this is how we are as indigenous people. First and foremost of those principles is prayer. Prayer. But what that prayer is the prayer of 2 things. Thanking Grandfather for whatever gifts we have received in terms of life, in terms of food, in terms of shelter, in terms of clothing, and most importantly, in terms of water. Purity of it. And then prayer is also when it's given. First of all, you look to your directions. And over here is the west. That's where we start.
Yes, I will.
And in that direction are the Thunderbird beings. I'm Thunderbird. When I offered a prayer to get this building started, I had a German rock star that came here and was going to look at and determine whether or not he was going to help me in the funding. They came, they had a bunch of photographers. I said, no prayer while I offer this. And we had already used the chalupa, the pipe, and we offered it saying, if this is right, Grandfather, guide us, lead us forward on it, and let it happen so that the education, the learning can come from here. We can't do it over there in this other culture world because they have different ideas, they have different goals, they have different objectives. Ours would be with the purity of who we are, sacredness of who it is. Thunder beings. And so I did that acknowledgement to the north, is the Buffalo Nation. And in our prayer we say, look down on us in your time of what you're doing. Look at us and join us in that prayer. For the rock that's there, join us in that prayer. And then we look to the east and we say, all of you of the elk and deer nation, look down and join us in this prayer, because we are offering prayers to Grandfather, to Kasha. In the south, all of the other of creation, the animals, look and see what we're doing. join us in our prayer. Here, all the winged, spotted eagle, bald eagle, all of you, join us in this prayer to ground the grandmother earth, the rock that we come from, the spiritual guidance. And when we do that, we bring to some, they have this. This is old, but it's a round rock. Tunka, Tu is body, Gun is ancient. So, ancient rock, we use that respect, the first of everything. So we ask these things. And when I did that prayer, lightning bolt hit behind me, and the photographer, he snapped a picture just as the lightning bolt hit. And in the outline of that lightning bolt was a thunderbird in the sky, in the clouds. I mean, that's there. It's a thunderbird. Mm-hmm. It was saying, yes, this is right. You go and you do it. You follow the Spirit. So, what great honor it is to have the approval and the guidance of anything that everyone does. And you mentioned anyone that ever made a book or ever did something, the rainbow people never would. Rainbow people, you live in that sacred circle too. Because what I showed Stephen was, go out there in the middle, look to the west, follow the horizon all the way around, 360 degrees. Follow the horizon. And in your visualness of your mind, is it a square? Is it a triangle? Is it an octagon? Is it a circle? Circle. My background, I had the opportunity to study science, to look into those powerful microscopes. And I've seen even the genetic compound that makes us all genetically what we are. I've seen a gene. Gene wasn't square. It was circle. The only things that I ever saw that were straight were the bacteria, the viruses. Mm-hmm. They're not circles. They're straight. Check it out sometime. Linear, not a circle. It means something because there's a message to give. It means something. So prayer is going from a very, very limited level. And I can go to the church and I hear all of these words. But it's interesting, these words that are said. Those words that I hear is salvation. Salvation, all the time. Jesus Christ is here. Salvation is here. You will save me from the horrors and the evils of today and now, but you will also save me from hell and the devil. You protect me. Salvation, salvation, salvation. But when did they talk about the little four-leggeds? When did they talk about the birds? When did they talk about the buffalo nation, the elk and the deer nation, and all the other animals? When did they talk about that? Where is it written in the Bible? And I explored that one day. And one is that when Mary came to Bethlehem for the count, and she ended up having Jesus Christ in a manger, what did she ride? A donkey. That's in the Bible. When Jesus came to become crucified, he rode a donkey. And he came in and they laid the palms down in respect to him. And, he was crucified. When Adam and Eve were first created, there was one that crawls, came up there, says, Eve, eat this. Forbidden fruit. Well, if it's created, really, what fruit is forbidden? Some say, well, it was a pomegranate. I don't know if you guys have ever asked that question. What was that fruit that's forbidden? Because by golly, I don't want to eat it. Maybe I'll end up going and burning eternally. There's nothing else in there save. Way back from those times up to now, we need to make good Christian men and women. Doctrine of discovery. I want to share with you on September 15th of this coming year, the Pope will be in Chicago. And already is gathering of indigenous people. They've already written letters that grandma, well, you didn't meet the grandmas, but the grandmas, indigenous grandmas, did go to Rome, and they did ask the Pope to remove the papal bulls, because in there is subjugation and colonization. You think we're getting subjugated, and you think we're getting colonized. Look at what has happened to your people. Look at what has happened to your people. So, September 15th, there's a gathering up there. And again, the Pope won't listen to us, but we're making it known that everybody has been subjugated. Everybody has been colonized. Why not look at this circle? Over here, the Thunderbird beings, the power of life, the power of taking life, the power of medicines coming from here, the power of the medicine that healed me, depth of spirituality which becomes sacred. Buffalo Nation, we are on a plan right now that there's going to be buffalo brought here. We're bringing the buffalo home because subjugation, colonization has taken it away from us. They placed us here, but we're going to bring it back. And we're developing a plan that is going to be able to take these little children, make them fluent speakers of the language, make them understand what is spirituality. And then they also need to know this other world that's out there, because in there you can learn the things that are needed to make a job. Nothing wrong with it. Prayer is the first. Secondly is your identity. Identity is important and will be important to each and every one of us at some given time. My granddaughter that was just here, she's the 11th generation that I've been able to trace down. She's my niece. We are in that same bloodline. We carry the blood of those that were massacred, of Wounded Knee. And we've all struggled to try to get that life back. And we're doing it, bit by bit, piece by piece. Identity is to say, I know who I am, because I know where I came from and what I am. But that's a generalization, because in there specifically we talk about spiritual, physical, mental, and economic. The identities of who we are connected in that way as far back as you can see, or trace, or search. But economic is a little different from our perspective. Economic is merely adequate food, shelter, water, and clothing, survival things. We'll pause for